The pastel balloons and gift towers at Sarah's baby shower created the perfect backdrop for my mother's favorite performance, publicly diminishing me while privately draining my bank account. Emma still rents that tiny studio in the old part of town, Mom told the circle of her country club friends, her voice pitched just loud enough to carry across the backyard. Can you imagine? At 32, I stood near the dessert table watching my sister open her 6th designer stroller. The irony wasn't lost on me. The mortgage on the house hosting this party? I'd been paying it for 4 years. The luxury SUV in the driveway with the pink bow Sarah just squealed over? My anonymous gift routed through Dad's business account so he could take credit. Emma, honey, could you refill the champagne? Mom's voice dripped with that particular condescension she reserved for me. It's the least you could do since you couldn't afford an actual gift. I smiled and headed toward the kitchen. The $3,200 custom crib being delivered next week was already paid for. By me. Anonymously. Like everything else. My phone buzzed. My accountant, Richard Chin, responding to the spreadsheet I'd sent him last night. Emma, I've reviewed everything. Are you absolutely certain about Monday? This will have immediate consequences. I typed back. I've never been more certain about anything. 4 years ago I'd made 2 decisions that shaped everything that followed. The first decision came 3 days after my father's 60th birthday party, where he'd announced to everyone that I'd finally found my calling as an administrative assistant. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd just accepted a position as VP of Strategic Acquisitions at Meridian Capital Group. Base salary, $340,000. Annual bonus structure, $200,000 to $500,000. Equity package, substantial. The interview process had taken 6 months. Meridian was one of those firms you didn't find, they found you. Headhunted from my previous role as senior analyst at a mid-tier investment firm, where I'd identified 3 acquisition targets that returned 340% over 18 months. Don't tell your father, my mother had whispered when I got my first real job at 23. You know how he feels about women in finance. Let him think you're doing something simpler. So I had. 4 years, I'd let them believe I was struggling along in entry-level positions while I built a career that would make most Harvard MBAs weep with envy. The second decision came when I received my first Meridian bonus, $380,000 after my first year, for successfully leading the acquisition of a struggling manufacturing company that we flipped for $43 million. My parents' mortgage was 3 months behind. Dad's consulting business hadn't landed a real client in 2 years. Mom's boutique was hemorrhaging money. Sarah's husband had just lost his job. I could have let them fail. Instead, I created a shell company, Anderson Family Solutions LLC, and began making anonymous payments through it. Their mortgage company received certified checks each month. Their utility companies. Their car payments. All of it routed through enough corporate layers that it appeared to come from Dad's business consulting work finally paying off. Why did I do it? Because despite everything they were my family. Because I wanted to believe that if they weren't stressed about money, maybe they'd soften. Maybe they'd see me. I was wrong. The financial support only made them more convinced of their own superiority and my inadequacy. Dad started telling people about his business breakthrough. Mom redecorated the house on my dime and told everyone I was still struggling to make rent. But I kept paying. And I kept records. Every single transaction meticulously documented. Wire transfers, payment confirmations, account statements. 4 years of complete financial support, cataloged like evidence. Because that's exactly what it was. My career at Meridian had exploded beyond even my most optimistic projections. Year 2, I led the acquisition of a commercial real estate portfolio in the Midwest. Return, $67 million. My bonus, $520,000. Year 3, I identified and executed the purchase of a failing tech startup that our development team transformed into a product Google acquired for $340 million. My bonus, $890,000. Plus equity acceleration that added another $1.2 million to my portfolio. Year 4. This year, I'd been promoted to senior vice president and given my own acquisition team. My base salary was now $475,000. My total compensation package, including equity and performance bonuses, exceeded $2.1 million annually. I owned my tiny studio apartment outright. I also owned a downtown penthouse I actually lived in, a mountain cabin in Colorado, and a 15% stake in a successful restaurant group. My investment portfolio was worth $8.7 million. At 32, I was wealthier than my parents had ever dreamed of being. And they had absolutely no idea. I drove a 5-year-old Honda Civic to family events. I wore clothes from Target. I let them believe I was barely scraping by while I anonymously funded their entire lifestyle. The payments had become substantial. Asterisk mortgage. $3,400 per month times 48 months equals $163,200. Asterisk property taxes. $8,500 per year times 4 years equals $34,000. Asterisk utilities, electric, water, gas, internet $680 per month times 48 months equals $32,640. Asterisk dad's car payment. $890 per month times 48 months equals $42,720. Asterisk mom's car payment. $1,100 per month times 48 months equals $52,800. Asterisk car insurance. Both vehicles $340 per month times 48 months equals $16,320. Asterisk mom's boutique rent. $2,800 per month times 48 months equals $134,400. Asterisk various business expenses and bailouts. $87,000. Asterisk Sarah's wedding. $43,000. Routed through dad's client. Asterisk emergency medical bills. $28,000. Asterisk credit card payments when they got behind. $94,000. Total. $728,080 over 4 years. $728,000. Anonymous. Unacknowledged. While they called me a financial burden, my accountant had questioned the arrangement repeatedly. Emma, they're not even grateful. They don't even know you're helping them. That's the point, I told him. I want to see who they really are when they think I have nothing. Now I knew. The baby shower comment was the final straw, but it wasn't the first incident. 2 months earlier at Dad's retirement party, retirement from what I still wasn't sure, he'd pulled me aside. Emma, your mother and I are concerned about your financial situation. We think you might need to move back home for a while. Save some money. Move back into the house I was paying for. I'm fine, Dad. Really? Are you? He'd looked at me with something between pity and contempt. Because successful people don't drive 15-year-old cars and live in studio apartments at your age. Sarah was a homeowner by 28. Sarah's down payment had come from me. $60,000, routed through an inheritance from her godmother, who'd actually left her $3,000. 6 weeks ago at Sunday dinner, Mom had announced, "We've decided to help you, Emma. We're going to co-sign on a small condo for you. Nothing fancy, but something more appropriate for a woman your age." They were going to co-sign. With their credit score that would be in the 400s without my monthly payments keeping everything current. That's very generous, I'd said carefully. But I'm good. Don't be proud, sweetheart. Mom had patted my hand. We know things are tight. It's nothing to be ashamed of. The rage had been ice cold in my chest. But I'd smiled. Nodded. Let it go. Then came the baby shower. Sarah's baby shower was held at my parents' house. The 4-bedroom colonial with the professionally landscaped yard and the recently renovated kitchen. All funded by their successful consulting work. I'd arrived with a small wrapped box containing a children's book, deliberately modest. I'd learned years ago that expensive gifts raised questions I didn't want to answer. "Oh, Emma," Sarah had said when she opened it, her voice saccharine. "How thoughtful. Did you make this yourself?" She held up the $18 board book like it might be contaminated. "It's from the bookstore," I'd said evenly. "Well, it's the thought that counts." Mom had interjected brightly, already moving Sarah's attention to the next gift. A $400 designer diaper bag from Mom's tennis partner. I'd retreated to the dessert table checking my phone. A text from my accountant, standing by for Monday. Documentation is complete. Are you sure? That's when Mom's voice had cut across the yard. Emma still rents that tiny studio in the old part of town. Can you imagine? At 32. I'd looked up to see her holding court with 5 of her country club friends, all of them dripping in jewelry and judgment. Well, not everyone is ambitious, one of them had said just loud enough. She tries, Mom had said with a sigh. She just doesn't have Sarah's business sense. Or her husband's drive. Sarah's husband was unemployed. For the 4th time in 2 years. I knew because I'd seen the job loss letter when I was handling their insurance payments after the last temporary setback. I'd walked toward the house planning to leave quietly. That's when Mom had spotted me. "You can't even afford your own apartment," she'd announced loudly enough that the entire party turned. "How could you possibly contribute to this family?" The backyard had gone quiet. 35 people watching. "Financial burden," Dad had added with a smirk, joining Mom's side. "Always has been." Sarah had laughed. Actually laughed. I'd looked at them, really looked at them. At the house I was paying for. The cars. The lifestyle. The complete certainty in their eyes that they were better than me. And I'd smiled. "I need to go," I'd said pleasantly. "Congratulations, Sarah." I'd walked to my Honda Civic, driven to my actual penthouse and opened my laptop. Monday morning, 6:47 a.m., I sent the email that would change everything. Richard, execute immediately. 1. Cancel all automated payments to Anderson Family Solutions LLC effective today. 2. Close all accounts associated with Anderson Family Support. 3. Revoke access to the backup credit line, account #XXXX, 7834. 4. Prepare complete financial documentation for all payments made 2021 to 2025. 5. Engage forensic accountant to audit any accounts where my SSN was used. Send notification to their mortgage company, utility providers, and creditors that the anonymous benefactor arrangement has ended. No further payments will be made. Effective immediately. No exceptions. Emma. Richard called me 17 seconds after I hit send. "Emma, once I do this, there's no going back. Their mortgage payment is due in 9 days. Their utilities will start shut-off procedures within 2 weeks. This will be catastrophic for them." "I know. Are you absolutely certain?" I thought about Mom's voice. Financial burden. About 4 years of paying their bills while they mocked my tiny apartment. About $728,080 in support they thought came from Dad's imaginary business success. I've never been more certain about anything in my life. Understood. I'll execute within the hour. Emma. I'm also seeing some concerning irregularities in the credit monitoring. There are accounts I don't recognize showing up associated with your SSN. My blood went cold. What kind of accounts? Credit cards. Store cards. A personal loan. I'm sending it all to forensic review now, but you should prepare yourself. The amounts are significant. How significant? Preliminary. Over $180,000 in credit card debt. In your name. I closed my eyes. My parents. That would be my assumption. I'm engaging the forensic team immediately. If this is identity theft, we'll need to involve authorities. Do it. All of it. Tuesday morning, the first automated payment failed to process. Wednesday afternoon, their second mortgage payment bounced. Thursday, the utilities company sent disconnect notices. Friday at 2:47 p.m. my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. And again. 12 times in 30 minutes. Finally a text. "Emma, call me immediately. Emergency." I texted back. "In meetings all day. What's up?" Her response came in seconds. "Our mortgage payment didn't go through. The bank is calling it a critical error. Dad's business account seems to be frozen. We need to talk now." I waited 3 hours before responding. That sounds stressful. I'm sure Dad's business manager can sort it out. The phone calls intensified. Dad called 17 times. Sarah called. Even Sarah's husband called, which was a first. Saturday morning, I received a group text to the family chat. "Dad, emergency family meeting. Today. 2 p.m. Everyone must attend. Non-negotiable." I responded, "Sorry, I have plans." "Mom, Emma Marie Anderson. This is serious. Our accounts have been frozen. We need everyone here now." Sarah, "God, Emma, can you not be selfish for once?" I turned my phone to do not disturb and went to my Pilates class. Monday morning, 9 days after I'd stopped the payments, Richard called. It's worse than we thought. The forensic accountant has completed the initial review. Emma, they've been committing identity theft for at least 3 years. He sent me the report. I read it in my office, my hands steady despite the rage burning through my veins. Credit cards opened in my name. Asterisk MasterCard, $47,000 balance. Asterisk Visa, $38,000 balance. Asterisk American Express, $52,000 balance. Asterisk Discover, $18,000 balance. Asterisk Store Cards, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, etc. $31,000 combined. Personal loan in my name, $67,000. Total fraudulent debt, $253,000. All of it linked back to my parents' address. Purchases ranging from luxury furniture to designer clothes to Sarah's baby furniture. My excellent credit score, which I'd built carefully over a decade, had been exploited to fund their lifestyle while they called me a financial burden. The forensic accountant recommends we involve federal authorities, Richard said carefully. This is felony identity theft. Mail fraud. Wire fraud potentially. The FBI handles these cases. Do it. Emma, these are your parents. These are criminals who stole my identity and destroyed my credit while I was actively supporting them financially. File the reports. All of them. Understood. I'm also preparing a complete accounting of every dollar you've paid on their behalf. When this goes to court, and you'll want documentation. How long until the authorities get involved? Federal investigation? They'll make contact within 48 to 72 hours once we file. Do you want me to give your parents any warning? Thought about the baby shower. The smirks. The public humiliation. Not one word. Wednesday afternoon my phone exploded. 23 missed calls. 47 text messages. All panicked. All desperate. Mom, the mortgage company is starting foreclosure proceedings. Emma, please, we need help. Dad, someone has reported fraud on our accounts. The bank has frozen everything. We can't access our money. Sarah, Mom and Dad's cards are all declining. What is happening? Emma, do you know anything about this? I deleted the messages and went back to work. I had an acquisition meeting for a $340 million healthcare portfolio. Real work. The kind that actually mattered. Thursday morning, 2 FBI agents arrived at my parents' house. I know because Sarah called me sobbing. I answered this time. Emma, oh my God, the FBI is here. They're asking about identity theft and fraud. They have boxes of documents about credit cards and, Emma, what is happening? I have no idea, I said calmly, reviewing the quarterly earnings report on my second monitor. Why would the FBI be talking to Mom and Dad? They keep asking about you. About your social security number. Emma, did you report Mom and Dad for something? If Mom and Dad did something that requires FBI investigation, that's between them and federal authorities. I need to go, Sarah. I have a meeting. Emma, please. They're talking about prison. About felony charges. Then maybe they shouldn't have committed felonies. I hung up. Friday afternoon my lawyer called. Emma, your parents' attorney has been contacting me. They want to meet. They're in serious trouble. I'm aware. The charges are substantial. Identity theft, mail fraud, wire fraud. We're looking at potential federal prison time. They're claiming they didn't know it was illegal, that they thought as your parents they had the right to. They stole $253,000 using my identity while I was actively paying all their bills. They knew exactly what they were doing. Their attorney is suggesting a family meeting. Mediation. They're willing to admit wrongdoing if you'll consider not pressing charges. No. Emma, I have to advise you. I said no. They had 4 years to treat me with basic human decency. 4 years while I paid every single one of their bills. They chose to call me a financial burden at my sister's baby shower. They chose to commit federal crimes. They can face federal consequences. Understood. I'll communicate your position. Saturday they showed up at my building. My doorman called up. Ms. Anderson, there are 3 people here claiming to be your family. They're quite insistent. Tell them I'm not available. They're saying it's an emergency. Tell them to leave or I'll call the police for harassment. I watched from my penthouse window as building security escorted them out. Mom was crying. Dad looked 10 years older. Sarah was screaming something at the doorman. My phone rang. I answered. Emma. Please, we need to talk. Face to face. Just give us 5 minutes. You had 4 years, Mom. You had 208 weeks. 1,460 days. 35,040 hours. You spent that time calling me a financial burden while stealing my identity and spending $253,000 in my name. You spent it mocking my apartment while I paid your mortgage. You don't get 5 more minutes. Emma, sweetie, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding. I have documentation of every fraudulent account. Every forged signature. The FBI has it all now. This conversation is over. You ungrateful, Dad's voice having grabbed the phone. After everything we've done for you. We raised you. We gave you everything. You gave me nothing. I gave you $728,080 over 4 years. I have the receipts. Literally. Every single transaction. Dated and documented. Your mortgage. I paid it. Your cars. I paid them. Your utilities, your property taxes, Mom's failing boutique, Sarah's wedding. All me. Every single dollar. While you called me a financial burden. Silence. That's not possible, Mom's voice distant. Your father's business. Dad doesn't have a business. He hasn't had a real client in 6 years. I know because I've been reviewing the financial statements while my forensic accountant prepared the fraud case. Every dollar you thought came from his consulting breakthrough came from me. Through a shell company I created specifically to support you anonymously. Emma. Dad's voice cracked. Why would you, if you were helping us, why wouldn't you tell us? Because I wanted to see who you really were. When you thought I had nothing, when you believed I was struggling, I wanted to see if you'd show me kindness. Compassion. Basic human decency. I looked out at the city skyline, at my reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows. Instead, you called me a financial burden at a baby shower. You mocked my apartment that I own outright. You committed identity theft while I was actively supporting your entire lifestyle. You showed me exactly who you are. We can fix this, Mom whispered. We'll pay it all back. Every penny. Please, Emma, they're talking about prison. You can't pay it back. You don't have any money. You never did. The only money you've had for 4 years was mine. And I've stopped sending it. Emma, please. Sarah's voice now. Mom's boutique is closing. The bank is foreclosing on the house. Their cars are being repossessed. You can't just. I did. You all made your choices. Now live with the consequences. I hung up. Blocked all their numbers. Blocked their emails. I had an acquisition to finalize. Real work with real consequences. A $340 million deal that would impact hundreds of employees in multiple communities. My family's crisis wasn't my problem anymore. 30 days later, Richard sent me the final accounting. Their mortgage had gone into foreclosure. Their cars had been repossessed. Mom's boutique had closed. Their credit cards, the legitimate ones, were all in default. The federal charges were proceeding. My parents were facing 3 to 5 years in federal prison for identity theft and fraud. Their attorney was negotiating a plea deal. Sarah had filed for divorce. Apparently, her husband's repeated unemployment combined with the loss of the free housing they'd been living in, my parents' house, was too much stress. My credit report had been corrected. The fraudulent accounts were marked as identity theft and removed from my record. My score had actually improved to 847. I'd received a formal apology letter from their attorney. It was a legal document carefully worded, admitting to nothing while asking for everything. I filed it without reading past the first paragraph. The acquisition had closed successfully. My bonus for the year would exceed $1.4 million. I donated $50,000 to a financial literacy nonprofit. Anonymous, of course. 6 weeks after the baby shower, I received one final message. Not from my family, but from Sarah's ex-husband, Mark. I need you to know something. Sarah's been telling everyone you abandoned the family out of spite. That you were jealous of her success. But I found something when I was packing my stuff. A folder in your dad's office. It had all these letters from creditors, bills marked paid, with some company name I didn't recognize. I looked it up. Anderson Family Solutions LC. That was you, wasn't it? I stared at the message for a long time. Emma, I'm so sorry. For laughing at the baby shower. For not speaking up. I didn't know. They never told us you were helping. Sarah's been living in that house thinking your dad paid for everything, driving that SUV thinking it was a gift from him. I feel sick. I typed a response. You weren't supposed to know. That was the point. I hope you land on your feet, Mark. You deserve better than what you got. His response came quickly. So did you? I'm sorry we didn't see it. 3 months later, I received a wedding invitation. My best friend from Meridian, Jordan was getting married. The invitation included a +1. I brought my accountant Richard Chin. Partially because he'd become a genuine friend through this process, but mostly because the look on people's faces when I introduced him as the man who helped me recover from $253,000 in identity theft committed by my parents was incredibly satisfying. At the reception, Jordan's toast included a line that made me tear up. To chosen family. The people who see you, believe in you, and stand with you when biology fails. I thought about the family I'd built. My team at Meridian who'd celebrated my promotions. My neighbors in the building who'd protected me from my parents' harassment. Richard who'd spent countless hours documenting my case. Jordan who'd never once questioned my worth. I'd lost my biological family. But I'd gained something better. People who valued me for who I actually was, not who they wanted to exploit. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Local boutique owner sentenced in federal identity theft case. I didn't open the article. I already knew how it ended. I was free. 1 year later, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. Emma, it's Sarah. I'm using a new email because I know you blocked my old one. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know that I'm in therapy. Processing a lot. I found the records. All of them. I know what you did. I know what Mom and Dad did. I know what I did. I laughed at that baby shower. I called you selfish. I lived in a house you were paying for and mocked your apartment. I'm not asking for forgiveness because I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, you were right. About all of it. Mom and Dad are in federal prison. I'm living in a 1-bedroom apartment, working retail, raising my daughter alone. And for the first time in my life, I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. You showed us who we really were. We hated what we saw. But maybe some of us needed to see it. I hope you're happy, Emma. Really happy. You earned it. Sarah. I read it 3 times. Then I saved it to a folder and closed my laptop. I was happy. I had a career I loved, wealth I'd earned, and peace I'd fought for. I'd paid $728,080 to learn exactly what my family thought of me when they believed I had nothing. It was the most expensive education I'd ever received. And it was worth every single penny.